Hello, Facebook Live, and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. This is October 17th, and this was our big send day for Venus and I. We were with the Vote Forward campaign, and you please log on to a page. It's called Venus Johnson. Like her page, and you will see all the Vote Forward initiatives. I have a wonderful campaign manager who's very active and strongly encouraging the vote to get out this election. So vote forward. This was the send date. Log on to the like page for Venus Johnson to find out more. Today on our Community Coffee with Kellie, and again, I'm Kellie Davis, and I'm running for Oceanside City Council District 3. We have the authentic and phenomenal Don Love on the show. He is the program coordinator, counselor and coordinator of the Umoja program at Mira Costa College. And I want to say up at the top of our show here, this is not an endorsement. I'll say it again. This is not an endorsement. This is just me connecting with our community over at Mira Costa. And also, Venus Johnson, again, she's been going to some of these talks. They have these porch talks, and she's very active, so I could not have Don Love on our show. So that's why we're going to be co-interviewing Mr. Love today, talking about all the yummy things he's doing over at Mira Costa College. So Don Love, welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation, and I'm looking forward to the dialogue.
Okay, absolutely. So Don, my first question to you, Umoja, what is that? What does it stand for? Why are you doing it? What are you doing over there at Mira Costa College, Mr. Love?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that off the top, because one of the things I love doing and is talking about our program. So Umoja, it's pronounced Umoja. Umoja, and it is a Swahili word that means unity. It's a statewide program. So we're one of 71 community colleges. 70 of those are in California, one up in Washington State, and we're growing every year. We've got a number of schools that are trying to add Umoja programs on their campus. Umoja is it's a critical student resource designed to improve the outcomes for Black students and other underrepresented students in California community colleges. So we are a transfer success program. We are organized around 18 particular practices that inform everything we do, that are kind of encapsulated within 7 particular values that we hold to. So things like students being the highest priority. We keep the student centered in everything we do. Community is important for us, which is why I was really thrilled when Venus reached out and said, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here for the fall due to this pandemic," and she's just been a faithful attendee of our Friday Porch Talks. Porch Talk is one of our practices, and one of the things that we do is provide opportunities for not just students, but faculty, staff, administrators, and community members. Anybody is invited into the space. We typically have some sort of programming going on where we're talking about something that's related to the Black experience. Occasionally, we're just there just to build community, but it's really about supporting our students through their academic journey, and seeing more Black students successfully navigate the transfer process, transfer into the 4-year universities, and achieve their academic and career goals.
Well, thank you. Umoja, thank you, meaning unity. I want to ask, so one of the things I think is beneficial for programs like Umoja, and I'm glad that you mentioned it's for everyone. I get these questions on the forum about Black Lives Matter and, Black culture. I'm always a little surprised sometimes, again, just from my perspective, that people are like, oh, that's right, it's a culture there. And I like the fact that you have Umoja, that you can go to this whether it's a Friday porch talk and just sit and listen. Am I right with that?
That's it. We certainly welcome to engage. We encourage that, but we actually do have a lot of folks who are, maybe they've heard, because Umoja has been around since 2012 on our campus. Umoja, as a statewide organization, originally got started in 2006. So it took a few years before we could actually put one together on our campus. So, and that kind of speaks to the challenges that some of the new schools that are coming on board, and even schools that have had Umoja programs for years, struggle to keep their programs running because there's a lot of work you have to do on your campuses to, one, keep that funding going, keep the support going, because you have to literally, for us, it was about connecting with the various departments on our campus. English and math. Math is like one of those uh, 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 courses that our students tend to struggle with. So we didn't want to just accept the fact that, hey, that's just something that Black students struggle with. No, there's something else going on here. Let's get some instructors who actually might look at a different way of teaching, instead of assuming that everybody's going to learn in the same way. And so we, as Moja has a number of trainings that we offer throughout the year. We have a Summer Learning Institute. That's a week-long intensive where we bring our teams together and from all over the state, and we basically learn from each other. We have a statewide conference that's usually in November. That's virtual, going to be virtual this year. So we're going to, we pushed it off until the spring, but we are going to have a virtual statewide conference. We will have a student leadership summit. So there's opportunities for faculty, administrators, and students to come together regularly and just support each other throughout the state, learn from each other.
Mr. Love, I have to ask you, why this work? Because just a little I know about college campuses and even some of the staff that gets involved, you have busy stuff to do. Why Umoja? Why did you get involved?
No, thank you for that question, because the only reason I'm in education, and I can say this because it's because of Umoja, although I didn't know Umoja, I didn't know anything about it. When I got into education myself in 2007. So in 2006, I just kind of, one of the things I do with students and anybody that I'm introducing to Umoja, I like them to know the history of Umoja, because it wasn't like people were saying, hey, let's throw some money at this problem, let's do something. This literally was 2006. We had a number of educators were at a conference, and they were looking at some data, and the data is typically the same kind of data that we see where we're looking at the success rates of different ethnic groups and Black students. There was a big gap between how well Black students were doing successfully at the transfer and maybe white students. And they just got tired. They said, look, we see this data all the time. This is ridiculous. And we need to do something, because if our campuses aren't going to do something, then we need to do something. And so literally it was a handful of educators who made a commitment. They formed a steering committee. They did the research that somebody must be doing something. So there were some schools, there were literally a small number of schools that actually had programs that were designed to improve the outcomes for Black students, and they put these programs together. One of the programs was Daraja program at Chabot College up in the Bay Area. That program has been around for like 35 years and phenomenal success rate. So they used a lot of that information to form Umoja. Even on our campus, we have a summer bridge program that's been around, that Venus actually went through. And that program has been around for 28 years. So even 28 years ago at Mira Costa in Oceanside, there were actually two people who recognized there was a problem with Black student success at Mira Costa that nobody was addressing. And it was a Black trustee, Henry Holloway, who passed away a few years back. And one of our counselors, I think the only Black counselor on staff at the time, they came together and they put together Summer Bridge. And so I still run that program to this day. It's part of our Umoja program. So when you ask why I do this work, is because I was making a career change in 2007, and a friend of mine who was in education, who actually was running the Summer Bridge program at the time, and he knew I was looking for a career change, and he said, hey, would you like to do this? And I'm in my mid-30s at the time, so I'm looking for something. And I had been up here, I watched him during the summer run the program, and I thought, yeah, I actually would like to do this. And I kind of somehow was able to get an interview, got the job, and have been running it ever since. But the thing that really got me going and made this change I came from a business background and made this change into education was I was watching my own nieces and nephews, and they would come home and they were talking about some of the challenges that they were having at the community college that they were going to. And I thought, wow, here's this 25-year gap between us, and you're having the same problems that I had. And it blew my mind. And so that was because I was looking for something, and I had this opportunity, and I decided, let me explore this further. So in addition to just working at Mira Costa, that's the thing that drove me back to school as well. So I went on to get my master's degree and got into counseling. So we call it heart work. You know, Umoja was formed with no permission from anybody, and definitely with no money. You're talking about folks who were working their full-time jobs during the day, and they were on the phone with each other at night, just talking and saying, hey, what's our next step? You're going to talk to your representative, and we're going to see if we can get some funding together, and you're going to talk to the district folks here. And they just put a plan together, and then eventually, next thing you know, we've got this program. But part of that history, here's Umoja getting formed in 2007 or 2006. It started. In 2007, it was acknowledged as a student success program by the state. But we didn't see any money from the state until 2015. So that's a long gap. So to this day, I have no idea how we were providing all the training, how we were doing the growth opportunities, putting on these really big conferences, but all we knew was we had to make it happen. And so that's something that I think is always important for students to know, is that programs like Umoja struggle to just continue to get the kind of funding we need. We're now currently in 2018, the governor wrote us in, so we're a line item now, and we get $2.5 million that's dispersed throughout the to our Umoja statewide organization, and we can petition for grants to supplement what we do on our campuses. So now there's actually funding coming in, but there's also more accountability with that too. So, but you know, we're down with that. It's like we want that success.
And before I get Venus in here and weigh in on some things, speaking about the funding and some of the process involved with Umoja, do the students participate in that writing, and how participation, even with the funding, local politics, things like that with Umoja? How do you encapsulate some of that?
You know, you were breaking up, and I think I understand. You were asking if students are involved in funding?
I was asking about the level of student involvement in even the grant writing process. How much are the students involved in all of that? You talked about state government. Do you encourage the local involvement in politics?
Yeah, so as far as writing the grants for petitioning for funding, they're not really involved in the grant writing process, but they're involved in, okay, you tell me, what do you need? What instead of us sitting in a room and deciding what we're going to do for you, tell us what you need. So yes, students are heavily involved in giving us a direction for how we're going to write the grant and so forth. So I think that's probably the most important part of that in terms of, you know, we obviously get some funding that's, the funding that started our program is through the campus, through our student equity funds. And we have a foundation that actually is actively always looking. And actually I love our foundation because I don't even have to, I don't have regular meetings with them, but they're always sending me emails saying, hey, Don, here's an opportunity. What do you think? And then we'll collaborate and we'll go after some funds, and they're always looking out for our students. So I think from that sense, at Mira Costa, we definitely have probably a little more support than maybe some of our sister campuses, just in terms of how we collaborate with the various departments on campus.
And Venus, can you just share with us, as Don Love was saying that you were part of the Bridge program, were you a junior, a senior? Can you walk us through how that Bridge program came to you? Some of the things that you experienced from that Bridge program through Mira Costa.
Awesome, I would love to. So in high school, I graduated from Oceanside High School in 2018. And I was one of the students that stayed in the resource center. I was always in there. Every day at lunch, at our break, I was always in the resource center looking at any and every opportunity that I could get my hands on. It came to the point where the counselor who was in the resource center, as soon as she got an opportunity, she knew just to send it straight to me, because she knew that I was so motivated and ready to be a part of anything and everything, you know? So I was in the resource center one day, and I believe I saw a list of the Summer Bridge program signups. So, you know, the curious cat that I always am, I was like, so what is this, you know? And as I got introduced into the Summer Bridge program, this was in my junior year of high school. I realized how much I, one, enjoyed and would be so aligned with this program. One, because you get to have an early feel of what college life is like. And I was, you know, I'm preparing for college, and I thought that that would be amazing to get my feet wet and really get into the habit of taking a college course and being on a college campus and experiencing that life to make sure I'm ready for when I go on to my four-year university. So with this opportunity, I got to go to Mira Costa, take a couple of classes, and be hands-on with Summer Bridge and Umoja. And with Umoja, there were so many opportunities that came my way. There were so many lessons that I learned. And actually, I don't know if you know this, Don, but one of our programs with, I want to say, Professor Edwina, I'm not sure,
Yes,
it was so long
Professor
ago.
Williams.
Yes, Professor Williams. We did a poet, and Professor Hopkins, actually, it was
Yes.
sociology. We did a poetry,
Open mic poetry
yes,
night.
an
Yes.
open mic poetry session, and that was amazing and monumental for me. And I realized how much I enjoyed writing, especially in a poetic form. And I always used to think, oh, my poems aren't good enough, or they're not, you know, the verbiage isn't right. I just always used to downplay my writing. And through that program, I realized my writing is my truth, and I should just keep writing and keep expressing my truth because it's unique to me and my experience. So I'm saying all this to say that Summer Bridge, there were so many facets within Summer Bridge that were monumental into how I study today, how I learn today, how I express, and it was just monumental. And also to be in a program with such diverse unity was amazing. I had always told myself that I was going to go to a HBCU. I'm a military child, so I've moved around to various places. I've been exposed to various cultures. However, I felt as though I was never really engulfed in my own culture as much, so I yearned to be on an HBCU campus. And this Umoja and Summer Bridge was really my first step to being on a HBCU campus. So being it was kind of like a big Black student union, you know, and it was amazing to be a part of a group like that where we could have very open and real discussions and discourse about our history, our culture, and also at the expense of everyone's welcome. You don't feel any type of exclusion. You don't feel like, oh, just because the color of my skin, if I don't fully identify as Black or African American, I can't join, I can't be a part of this. There's none of that at all. You feel so much like a family, and I just absolutely adored everything that I learned from all of my professors, especially you, Don, at Summer Bridge. And those are truly gems that I take with me, and I go and I've taken them to Howard. I use them on my daily. And actually there was, just because we're here talking about it, there was one very memorable lesson that you taught me, Don, and I remember you asked us the question, what's your inner playlist? And I remember I wrote down my songs of my inner playlist, one of them being Lauryn Hill's I Gotta Find Peace of Mind, and India Ari's I Am Not My Hair. And the reason I chose those songs, it was so monumental because, one, I'm always trying to find peace in anything I do, especially within the world, but I realized, you know, let me conquer myself before I conquer the world. And then two, I am not my hair. I've always struggled with hair identity, as most colored girls my age have always done so. So just you to be cognizant of what is your inner playlist. Those little things have been monumental, and I've learned, I've taken them to Howard. I used that at a Howard event once, and so everybody has to write down their inner playlist. I totally stole that from you. So thank you so much, but there's so
Well,
many.
you know, I was going to say, I love the fact you stole it from me because I stole it from one of our other Umoja practitioners. That's what You know,
Awesome.
and that's what we do in Umoja. It's like,
Yes.
oh, I love that. I love that idea.
Yes.
And I've been doing that now for probably, I think I started that maybe 5 or 6 years ago, using that particular practice.
Awesome.
And it's what I find is, one, students are so connected to their music, and I learned so much about them on the first day, just by how they introduce themselves. And I introduce myself the same way, through my music. And we actually have some great laughs with that, because there's music that I play that I just assume everybody's aware of. The music of my generation is timeless, so I assume they're aware of it, and they're looking at me like, oh, I never heard of that.
Right. So yeah, there's so many gems that I learned from Summer Bridge, so many amazing friends and connections that I made that I continue now on. So Summer Bridge was my junior year at Oceanside High School. And then on my senior year, when I helped curate the Black Student Union program, I asked Don if he could help partner with us. So we had a great partnership with Oceanside Black Student Union Club with the Umoja practices. So you guys would come in sometimes and teach some of the Umoja practices, or just open us up to any opportunities that Umoja had. You would always, piggyback and share it with us. And so it was just an amazing opportunity. And even now, to this day, I'm so glad that I'm reconnected with my Umoja family, and I get to join you every Friday on our porch talks. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
You're amazing as well.
Well, well, thank you, Venus. I mean, that's, as much as you're the campaign manager for this campaign, it's like to be able to have someone like yourself, Venus. When I saw Venus and she tells the story that I was recording her, and after I was done, I was like, who are you? I gotta tell you that we're connected now. Because she has that kind of nature about her. And I think it's to your compliment, Don, that you, like you see talent, you see the chance. Yeah.
Well, and let me say, because there obviously were people who saw that same talent in Venus before we ever met, because I think, as you said, you're a counselor at Oceanside. I'm always looking for students, and as much as I'm going to go into the schools, I like to get recommendations. Tell me who's who needs some support, and then who's actually out there going after it, and you're not even worried about it. They're going to be successful. And he said, oh, you have to meet Venus. And Venus, I think during Summer Bridge, you missed the second week. I think it was you missed the whole second week. And it's a 6-week summer program, so it meets Monday through Thursday. And usually when students tell me they have to miss a whole week, I usually can't take them into the program, because if you miss a week in the summer, that's just tough to overcome. But everything about her said, I think she can do this. And then it was also not just that I felt she could do it. She was going to a leadership conference. And I said, all I need you to do, I want you to write me a paper, and I want you to share, because that's what we do in Umoja. We share our knowledge. So I need you to share what you got out of that conference, because it tied right into one of the things that we do with Summer Bridge and with our Umoja program. We're really trying to get students to see the leaders within themselves. And so I have students take a leadership assessment, and it's amazing, because they, in many cases, the words that are used to describe them as leaders, they never thought of those words as being leadership qualities. And so we start that process of building out their vocabulary and their language around, this fits me. Okay, now how are you going to incorporate that into your story, so that when you're introducing yourself to folks, they can, and when they ask you, what are your strengths and weaknesses, how are you going to answer those questions? How they can use, they have that language now to start using that. So Venus was, again, just seeing her here in this capacity is absolutely amazing. And that's what I want to see our students aspire, and have that kind of motivation and drive, and the commitment to realize that we actually need our young people engaged in all the things that are happening, right? Not just in our city, but in our state and our country. So
Thank you. And speaking of student involvement and politics, again, I'm learning through Venus with Umoja. Do you have, I know that you have ASG there at Mira Costa as well.
Yes.
Do you have some kind of, I don't know if I want to say focus with Umoja or encouraging with
Yeah.
politics? Yeah, could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we do have an associated student government, and so as we're talking about leadership, one of the things that I'm always strongly advocating for, and this year we have some phenomenal folks in leadership positions, but we're trying to get our students to move into those areas of leadership because that's where one they control a lot of money that gets dispersed in different areas on our campus, and we want to make sure that we have folks who aren't uh, missing the Black need on our campus as well. And so sometimes you need people in all of these different spaces to advocate for us. And so we actually have one of our Umoja students is we just created a new position this year that's part of ASG, our Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and that is Emmanuel Prince is the first person to occupy that position. We have another student, a wonderful student, Ian Clark, who is the Vice President of Programming. And the whole time I'm thinking about this, I said, I should have had Ian and Emmanuel on here with us. That's who you need to be talking to. But so anytime that we're that's one of the drivers right now is getting students engaged in the voting process. We don't sign on, we don't sign off to Porch Talk without encouraging students to vote. And I would say and you're welcome to join us anytime, Kelly, because we definitely we've had a couple of folks who are running for different offices. Uh, Rob Howard running for mayor. Rob's been a long time supporter of Umoja. Matter of fact, he helps us put on we do an annual fundraiser called Soul Fusion featuring jazz and jokes. And Rob was the one who basically allows us to put that together because of his contacts. And that's how we fund some of what we do with Umoja. We took that on ourselves we started jazz and jokes about 8 years ago. And it all started because one of the things that I get as a counselor, students were coming to me, and probably one of the biggest challenges they have are financial issues. And those financial issues cause you to miss classes, may cause you to drop out of school. And it was just kind of breaking my heart that I don't have a mechanism to solve that. And, we decided as a group, let's do our own fundraiser so we can actually raise some funds. And so we've been doing that now for 8+ years. And it's allowed me to have an emergency fund so students they can actually come to me and say, hey, look, I'm having some problems with this, and we can help them out with that. Maybe the car breaks down or they need groceries, whatever it is, they can petition for that. But it's also allowed us to provide scholarships for our students. So we provide a couple of different scholarships for a returning student every year and a transfer student. And that's in addition to other outside scholarships that folks who see what we do with the program, they've liked what they've seen, and they said, hey, I want to support you guys. And so we have scholarships that are specifically designed that are going to go to students who are in our Umoja program.
That's awesome. And we will, Venus will be circling back with you in about a week with Ian and Emmanuel, because we want to have that student voice,
yes.
and support and encourage and empower that. So we have a student series that's going to be coming up. So we will totally.
Yeah, and Ian and Emmanuel are great. They're constantly reminding students to get out and vote, and also the opportunities for them to volunteer. We just had a Rock the Vote event on Wednesday, and then we're going to do some post-election stuff on November 5th and November 10th. So we keep that dialogue going, since just because the election's over, things don't stop. So I like the fact that we've got an engaged student population on campus, but definitely an engaged Umoja community as well.
Well, we will be circling her back around after the elections, because like Venus says, we both are in agreement. This is a movement as much as this is an election. And you know what? It does not stop after the election. Now, make sure
that's the word.
Get done. So before we close out here, I wanted to add, you already mentioned some of the events. Venus can put them in our comments area. I'm sure she's already putting like ASG and the Mira Costa College website. What are your needs? What events do you have coming up? How can the public become involved? And what are your needs for?
You know, there's one of the things that we do. We have um, we close out the semester in December with a Kwanzaa event. And one of the things that we like to do with everything, so the porch talk, that happens every Friday, 12 o'clock. We have a career workshop series, so we're really trying to prepare students for that world of work that happens throughout the semester. And one of the things the community can really help us with is, one, being available. Our students need to connect with people who are in the fields that they're trying to, one, explore, because in many cases they may be pursuing something, but they don't know exactly what it looks like day to day. And sometimes that might be the difference between saying, this is really not my career, or it's the thing that says, yeah, this is what I want to do. And they develop contacts and relationships. And so I think I'd love to see folks just kind of pop in to a porch talk, introduce themselves, maybe jump into an hour. And again, we don't have the link for this yet, but I'll make sure you get that, Venus. Come in and support the students at the end of the semester. So we close out with a kind of pre-Kwanzaa celebration. It's just a reflection on the semester, and hopefully an opportunity to introduce more people in the community and even on our campus to our students in the Umoja program, because I think one of the things we really stress is one of the greetings that I use for every class. I open with our porch talks with is Sawubona, and Sawubona, Zulu word meaning I see you, and we want to be seen. Our students want to be seen, and so the more inquisitive folks can connect with me, and I would love to set up an opportunity for them to just kind of learn more about what we do and how they can support in that respect.
Well, Venus is the one that gave me that word, Sawubona, and we've been using that because it is awesome. I just like saying it anyway. Sawubona, really off the tongue there. You know? I appreciate that. And before we close it out, Venus, did you have any questions? Did you want to ask? You want to make any last words there?
Lastly, I would just like to say, again, I am so thankful for programs like Umoja that truly have prepared me and been a huge stepping stone for the person that I am today, especially transitioning to an HBCU campus. Howard University, as most know, is huge and abundant in culture. And, you know, it was truly a culture shock for me at first to be completely engulfed in that culture. However, Umoja was the perfect stepping stone to get me there. And even another highlight was when I graduated from Oceanside High School. This just is a testament to how dedicated Umoja community is. When I graduated from Oceanside High School, I was able to go through their rites of passage ceremony, which was phenomenal. It was such an incredible and spiritual event where, you know, it was really the perfect send-off to get me to transition me from the high school level and send me off to the college level. It was amazing, and I'm so grateful for Umoja. I got my kente cloth when I graduated. It was really awesome. So I'm just very grateful for programs like Umoja. So do whatever you can to support this amazing network of amazing people. You know, I plugged in their websites and their Facebook pages, their Instagram pages. So just join in on a porch talk. Let's have a healthy and amazing conversation. We're always diving into some wonderful topics. So that's all I have to say.
And I'll even I will add in, if I can, give you a link to our foundation page, because we're always looking for support in that respect. And if you just want to support students in any way, shape, or form with any dollar amount, we could use that support.
And the foundation page is found where, Mr. Love?
That is on our, if you give me a second, I will actually pull it up, but it's on the website, miracosta.edu. Okay. And if you go to the A to Z link and just click F for foundation, and then you can actually search for Umoja that way.
Okay, we will definitely add that to this post. And if you could just hang out with us after we end this wonderful Facebook Live here with Don Love of Umoja, means unity, and means also we have another term, Sawubona, visited us again, meaning I see you. So Venus and I see you Facebook Live, and we are just been incredibly humbled and excited by this campaign. We have, what is it, 2 more weeks, Venus, like a week and 2.5 weeks, right? Yeah, so we want to make sure that you get out and vote. We will be turning ballots in on Tuesday. If you want to join Venus and I in our Facebook Live, that will be that on Tuesday. Venus is completely directing that. So this is going to be an awesome event on Tuesday. Be sure to join us. And we also, on Monday, we will go to Joanne Tofilis's place on Monday and look at this RBG mural and how you can participate in that. So thank you so much, Facebook Live. We enjoyed this presentation with Umoja right there at Mira Costa College. And guess where it is? In District 3. So thank you, Don Love Johnson. Have an amazing rest of your Saturday afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.